back to a very special edition of Rachelsey at the Movies. Yay! You know, Rachel, usually we hang out and wait around a day or two to gather our thoughts about a movie. But tonight we saw a movie so excellent, so prestigious, so, I don't know, roller coasty. We decided to come and share our thoughts immediately.
So we went and saw Searching just a little while ago, and it was an excellent movie. And yeah, so what'd you love about the movie?
I love at the forefront of the movie was technology, and technology is such a big part of our lives today that I enjoyed someone putting it in a film this way. And it was a really interesting way to not only experience the movie, but also for, I'm sure, the writer and the director of the movie, a way to tell the story. I thought that was a really neat thing to do.
You know what it reminded me of? When you were still in college, you read a book in one of your classes, and then you told me it was a really good book, and so I read it. And in that book, what the author did...
What was the book?
I can't remember the name of it. What the author did, it wasn't with technology, but it was with advertising. So the author wrote the whole story, but then the family would be in the car talking, and then all of a sudden you see a line of some ad from a billboard, because we hear ads all the time and we see them. So if I'm driving in the car with you, I read billboards. So even though we're having a conversation, my brain still processes what I'm seeing elsewhere. So the way the author wrote the book is they put that in there because it's a part of our lives. And so we don't usually write stories or hear stories, watch movies like that. And so that's what this movie reminded me of taking stuff that we do all the time every day and just put it right there in the movie. Another
literary reference, possibly, at least for the time, was Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah, so that book is written entirely through letters, right? And so that was, I think, kind of the same thing as this person was doing.
That's fascinating, yeah. So instead of letters, how we communicate now, which is through technology. So yeah, that is really interesting. What I really liked about the movie was that, so we just reviewed A Simple Favor, and that was like a thriller and kept me guessing. Well, this movie was kind of in the same genre of more like a mystery, though, and oh my gosh, so many twists and turns, and I had no idea. It just took me on this whole thing. So that was the fact that the writer of the screenwriter could carry that, could do that, pull that off. I just thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, what didn't you like about it?
I think so. As much as I like the idea of using the technology so much, at times it kind of wore on me to the point to where I don't know. I enjoyed A Simple Favor. It was, you're right, exactly right. It was the same kind of movie, more because of the style of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I recognize that this movie is a better movie, and I see why it was rated higher by critics, because it was innovative. It was fresh, it was new, and it was just really made very well.
Yeah, the same thing for me was that once the movie started going, it was hard to see everything through not only the camera lens, and you're at a movie screen, but then the screens of social media, emails, laptops, text messaging. That was kind of wearing, and then but I totally forgot about it, though, after everything got going in the movie.
Yeah.
So, go, wait, or skip?
I'm going to say just skip it. I'm just kidding. I definitely go see this movie. One of the better movies I've seen this year, and certainly an interesting, fun, good experience at the movies, and I think that's what I look for when I go to the movies.
Yeah. Me too. Go see this movie. It was such a good movie. When it was over, I was just like, wow, I am so glad that we went and saw this movie, because it was just a really good movie. Right. Just excited about it. Spoilers. Again, like we said in our previous movie review, do not watch this if you want to see the movie,
because we will tell you,
ruin the whole movie for you.
Spoiler, she's totally dead. No, she's not. Is she? I don't know. Is she, though? Yeah, this movie keeps you guessing the whole time.
The whole time. I mean, we were just talking on the way home, and I told Kelsey, for the audience, trying to guess who the actual suspect is in the movie. I mean, it feels like there was 10 different suspects. So it just kept taking me on a new person. So it was kind of, it would had this, I was like, oh, and especially towards the end, because it started to go faster. And I was like, oh, this is happening. Oh, no, this is happening. And, yeah.
There are always little things, the little breadcrumbs the director left. Like, at the very beginning of the movie, they're standing in front of the school, and it says, like something about catfishes. And I was like, catfish! This could be a catfish movie, because I was looking for...
You're right. And I saw catfish, and I remember, I was like, why is the catfish there? There's no way their mascot is a catfish.
So there was stuff like that.
I wondered why I saw the word catfish there. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so it was really made very well. I'm sure that if we watched it again, we would catch more things. It's also one of these movies where I'm also certain that, like, tomorrow and the next day we'll be like, oh, and then what did this, just a really fun, good movie, I thought.
Yeah. And the lead in it is John Cho, and I thought he did a really good job. And so usually he's a supporting character in movies.
Yeah.
But he was a main lead in this, and I thought he did a good job playing the father in a difficult situation. Deborah Messing was in it.
Will and Grace?
Yeah, from Will and Grace.
She did a great job. She did such a good job in the movie that I was like, is that lady from Will and Grace? No, that's not her. It's a different lady that looks kind of her. But no, it's her.
Yeah. Really good job. And
okay, I'm really, I never saw it coming with when it turns out to be the detective. After, of course, you were like, oh, and this, and she did this. And even during the movie when... the part about his brother where he finds all these text messages.
Yes.
I was like, how the hell did they miss that? The police.
Which
this is
now
stupid.
Makes sense because the detective was leading the whole investigation, and then she wasn't leading an investigation though.
Yeah, you know she was just covering.
She was just pretending she was leading an investigation, and they had this really great scene early on when he first meets the detective, and she tells this story to try to make him feel better. Like, it's not your, kids do stuff and we don't always know everything about our kids. Like, we don't know them through and through. And she tells this story of her son makes up a fake charity and he goes and gets money from all the neighbors. And then one of the neighbors finds out and she comes over and confronts her. Well, the way she resolved that situation is that she told her neighbor, I founded that charity. So she lied. And I remember when that happened in the movie, I was like, it just kind of went through my head real quick. Well, that's not the right thing to do. That's not a good mark of character. But then I thought to myself, I was like, well, it's hard, for people to be, you have to be brave and courageous to do, the right thing all the time. And we don't always do the right thing all the time. So I was kind of real quick, the story, I told myself inside. But, that foreshadowed, later on what happened. Because once again, she was, protecting her son. And, it was
also
really good.
Really good in the movie is that, so we think today we have all this access to data, and we do have all this access to data. You don't really know something just from looking at data. And it reminds me of, so in this movie, the whole time you're like, oh, and what's his daughter doing with that money? And you're making up all these stories because that's what we do as humans. We make up stories about data that we receive. But we didn't know, and you wouldn't have ever guessed the truth about what was going on.
Or how I thought, even in the movie, that the catfishing part, with the screen name Fish and Chips, the waitress, I thought that was a waitress. I thought she was who she. I think I found out just it occurred to me almost just a few seconds before it occurred to the father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that was a good reminder to me that obviously when I see things, I'm like, oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. Really just just a fun, good movie. Something that's definitely had a lot of things to think about. Rachel, I'm going to ask you the most important question. Was this movie edifying?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's got the seal of edification, and I don't even know if that's a word.
Yeah, you had a whole arc with the family, which is the father and daughter, and they got a second chance.
Yeah.
It's going to make me cry a little bit, but
it was an emotional roller coaster.
But the very opening scene was just you were bawling. But yeah, we talked about on the way home, we thought, you thought that the girl was dead because you got a confession, for a long time, you were just assumed that she was dead. And then the father wasn't going to get this second chance because it was clear that he had messed up. His daughter become a stranger to him because he didn't want to talk about the death of his wife and her mother. And so like they just, if this happens in real life, like it doesn't always happen like this. Usually like the person is dead. But like in this movie, they got the second chance, which was nice.
It's great.
Yeah.
Edifying. All right.
And his brother wasn't a
perv.
Yeah, so that was
Well, we don't know that he wasn't a perv.
All right.
What's that like, huh?
It's fine.
It's fine. Whatever. So really good. So go, wait, or skip, Rachel.
I didn't get to say what I loved about it.
Oh, well, you talked for a long time, so I just figured you had. Okay, great.
On that note, we're good.
And we're done. Rachelsey at the movie.